And we are live. And there we go.
Okay. What's up? It's me, yeah boy. I just remember that meme where it's like when it comes back for Halloween, bye demons, I love you, or whatever it was. Anyway, hey everyone, it's Ultra Podcast Z episode 219. We didn't do Halloween because
Manuel.
I suck. Was there a reason? Huh?
Yeah, you said you didn't want to do an episode, and my attempts to get people on were met with crickets.
I ended up not going to Isekai. I ended up not going to Carnival, but I did go to a Halloween party, or did have a Halloween party, I should say. So I probably could have done it. I'm just stupid. I just realized that now. But then again, I was kind of stressed for Vegas. Anyway, we're talking about Isekai today. I'm Manuel, Leave Energy Connections. Josh joining us. Say hi, Josh.
Hi there. Glad to be here.
Yeah, we got teleported to another world. I was gonna say that there was an ALA. I'm not sure if Josh was. I don't know, but there was an ALA where there's a friend of ours that we were singing. She's a big Disney fan, but she was kind of like not drinking yet, and we were all drunk in the room, and we were just singing the song "A Whole New World," and we're talking about how like weirdly, I don't say violent, but weirdly strong the song gets. What was it like? Don't you dare turn away. Or
don't you dare close your eyes.
There you go.
I mean, it's more like, getting someone to experience the excitement of a roller coaster, not I'm going to kill you kind of thing. But go ahead, Manuel.
But we were singing this song really loudly, and it got to that part, and we were like, "Don't you dare close your eyes," or whatever, like to her, and she was like, "Ah, what the fuck?" And we just kept singing the song, and then then the song gets interrupted, and I see my phone, and it's Angie, friend of the channel, past UPC host Angie. She's like, "Are you guys singing A Whole New World?" And I'm like, "The fuck? Where is she?" I'm like, "Where are you?" She's like, "I'm next door," and then we hear a knock on the door, and she just shows up. Thank God we had a neighbor that like that wasn't gonna call in a noise complaint on us. By the way.
Yeah. Thank goodness. Thank goodness that didn't happen. Especially if it was starting to get aggressive.
Dude, I've always wondered stuff like that. Like, there are times when people will come to our rooms like to hang out with us, or just coming back from the cons or whatever, and they're all like, we can hear the room all the way up by the elevator. And I'm like, what the fuck? How has no one ever called a noise complaint on this? That's one of the big things I wonder. I feel that the noise canceling from the doorway has to not be as good as the walls, because I feel if you hear us in the elevator, we should be deafening in the room next door. I don't know. I guess I shouldn't complain. I shouldn't complain that we haven't got kicked out of a hotel room. That's a good thing. Anyway, it's Isekai season. And by that I mean it's Christmas, the time when the greatest Isekai of them all, Santa Claus, comes and gives us JD.
Manuel, I think you kind of lost the plot there.
I know. I thought if I kept saying things, it would travel back around to what I had to say. But whatever. Let's just get into this. Yeah, I went to a. Hello, police. I'd like to report that we're having a freaking Disney musical. No. There was one time when Josh and I were singing A Whole New World one time. Remember that? That was a different time. That was fun though.
Yeah, no, that was still when the convention was over at Anime Los Angeles was still.
Was that in Ontario?
Yeah.
I remember specifically when we were singing that song, somebody had challenged us that we wouldn't know the words. So we put it on. And mind you, I don't know if you agree with me on this. I know the words. I just mess up things when I'm like 20 drinks in. So like every time we messed up, I wish I remembered who it was. Like I would name them right now. Would be all like, you messed up. Like they give us a gotcha moment, but I'm like, no, that doesn't count. We're drunk. And also we were doing the Broadway version, which is slightly different lyrics than the Disney one. And you kind of got to be. Yeah. Well, I kind of know both, but I don't know if you're familiar with the Broadway one as much as I am. So yeah, there were some moments.
No, but I know the Spanish version.
Broadway one.
No, but I know I think the Mexican Spanish version. I can probably fumble through the Castellan version as well.
It's cool because, like, if you've never seen it, if you've never seen the OG Broadway version, not that I ever have because it's before my time, but I've seen clips of it. The original Ariel, she was on Heelys. That's the way they simulated her swimming.
Wait, which musical are we talking about right now?
Little Mermaid.
Okay, it seemed like you were switching between Aladdin and the Little Mermaid.
No, she was. That's the way they simulated the swimming. She was on Heelys.
Okay.
Wait, I kind of was mixing a whole new world in there, wasn't I?
Yes, and part of your world.
Oh, FYI, if you ever watch Disney's Aladdin. If you ever watch Aladdin in Broadway, there's no monkey. There's no Abu. He only has some homies. He has homies, and he has a mom. Well, the mom's dead, but yeah, he has a mom and he has homies. And yeah, it's different. It's a lot different.
Well, I guess it'd be hard to train a monkey for a stage play.
Well, have you ever seen that the Twisted? Twisted, is that what I can't remember what it's called, but there's the parody, parody musical.
You mean the Star Kid musical? It's Twisted.
Yeah, the monkey's like a puppet. They could have done that.
Oh yeah, I need to change that.
Anyways, Josh, what do you need to change?
The question of the week.
Wait.
Oh. Anyways, Josh, Isekai Anime. Let's get into this easy. I have a lot of things I wanted to say. Actually, I have a ton of notes. I'm not sure we probably get to none of them like we always do. What's your favorite Isekai anime?
Favorite Isekai. Well, favorite Isekai is Alice in Wonderland, but
okay.
Anime-wise,
you already went for it. Okay, I have a whole list of is this Isekai and Alice in Wonderland is on there. But go ahead and finish your question before I go further.
It is an animation, not necessarily Japanese, but yeah, no. I would say that probably my favorite Isekai. Damn. Shoot. Okay, my favorite Isekai is In the New World with My Cell Phone.
Really?
What? That's a crazy choice.
It is like the greatest mishap ever because it was made by the people who made KonoSuba. So I thought it was gonna be like gold, and it's actually pretty mid. Like, I'm gonna be honest. I just like it just solely because the main character has a iPhone that allows him to just do anything. He can look up information from the world that he was a part of. He can use it to power up his own abilities, and there should be a lot of things you could do with this, and somehow it's just nowhere near as funny as KonoSuba. Which
how does he charge the phone?
It's a magic battery. He doesn't have to worry about it.
I wish I had
and
a magic battery.
If you're wondering who gave it to him, God gave it to him.
Yeah,
that's.
Oh my God. Oh my God, literally.
Looks at him and says, "I'm really sorry. The fact that you got struck by lightning and died was a complete accident." You know, like instead of having like Photon or even Aqua like look at like a newly killed Urameshi or man, I'm having some time I'm having a hard time remember that brunettes name, but like, you know, they look at him and they said, "You died for no reason," you know? Yeah. It's different. It's like, I'm sorry. You did die for no reason. You were not supposed to die at all. That lightning strike was completely coincidental. So I'm gonna like I'm gonna like spit you onto a new world, and I'm gonna give you a cell phone. Oh, no. He's not gonna give him a cell phone. He was gonna put him into a new world because he couldn't really bring him back to the living in his world, and he said, what would you like from the other world? I will give it to you. And so then the main character asks for a cell phone, or, you know, like the smartphones and everything. And God's like, okay, cool. Well, I kind of feel bad because their smartphone's just not going to have the same functionality over there. And I am instead just going to... I'll give it some tweaks. I'm going to give it some tweaks so that it's usable in the new world.
I was going to say, like, did God also have to, like, put in cell towers around the fantasy world or whatever the fuck, you know? He had to install a whole cell network and, like, shit, does Genshin run on this thing? You know, shit like that, you know? That would be wild if Genshin ran on it. Anyway, I actually gave this a lot of thought, and I wish mine was as wacky as your choice, but my actually favorite Isekai anime and it's definitely an older one, but it's gonna be Fushigi Yugi. Sorry, I can't talk tonight.
Oh,
Fushigi Yugi.
I would have been wrong
It's
had I bet on it.
what do you think I was gonna say?
Magic Knight Rayearth.
Oh, that was my second one. And I'm not gonna lie, the only reason Fushigi Yugi's more nostalgic to me. Like I've seen the entire series 3 times, which doesn't sound that crazy, but I think the main series is 52 episodes alone, and then I've seen the other like 20 some odd, various OVAs, 3 times over the course of my life, and I love that show. It's great. It's there's some things I hate about it, but like it's cool. It's isekai, like but it's isekai before the core concepts of isekai got like established. Where the fuck did the truck come from?
If you're really gonna like bring up like an older one, I'm sorry, it's kind of a disservice that we don't talk about Inuyasha then, if that's what we're gonna do.
Oh, see, Inuyasha is a funny one because I never thought about this. See, that's where this whole question comes from. Like, what is an isekai? What makes a show an isekai? And I guess on the simple thing is like somebody goes to another world. You don't have to get hit by a truck, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, because you touched upon it earlier, like Alice in Wonderland. That's an isekai, right? Right? Do we all agree?
Yeah.
So is Peter Pan an isekai?
Yes.
Yes.
Like, is the Wizard of Oz an isekai?
It depends. Are we going by the book where it's an actual separate world, or the movie where it's just all a dream?
No, I think we're going by the book logic. Yeah, the book logic.
Then yes.
Isekai.
Well, then Alice in Wonderland will fall under the same logic because that would also have been a dream if we are not to say that the live actions are kind of canonical to the animation. But yeah.
Oh, you bring up a good point. Like, it's dot hack an isekai because some isekais involve going into a game, and I'm like, that's an isekai because like it's technically not another world per se. Because like for those that don't know, and I swear this is the fun fact Manuel keeps mentioning because like no one knows this but Manuel apparently. The Ring franchise is actually based upon books, and within the books, it turns out the whole thing is a computer virus. And there's a virtual world that people go into to fight the virus. So the Ring is an isekai for those who don't know. Is the Matrix an isekai using that logic? Like,
yes.
See, shit gets wild when you think about this. But like,
if we are back to anime though, it's like oh no, where'd he go?
Sorry, I had to stand up for a second. Sorry, go ahead.
So is Fugoshigi?
Fushigi Yugi.
Fushigi Yugi.
Fushigi Yugi. I apologize for mispronouncing that as well as mispronouncing that. I'm pretty sure I said it wrong.
No, you have to remember it because if you ever were a kid, like in the early 2000s or maybe the 90s, I'm not sure exactly when it happened. That ball, it's Fushigi, and you remember about the ball that it's just a smooth glass ball, like, but it looks all magical in the infomercials or whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, Fushigi Yugi's it's your typical high school girl. Well, this says girls, but high school girls get transported back into a fantasy world.
Is it based on China? Is that why you like it, Manuel?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Now it all makes sense.
It is based on China. Basically, there's these 2 warring states, and actually there's 4 states, but only 2 of them actually at war. And each of the girls gets sent to each one. It's kind of complicated about what happens to them after they get sent there, but TLDR, they both become the saviors of their respective kingdoms. It's like, oh, we're the ones who are going to lead your armies, and it's a pretty serious story. Like it's not like it has this wacky moments, but like there's a lot of death on both sides and a lot of nonsense, and like it's good though. It's good, and it's a classic one as far as I'm concerned. Some really good music as well. I like Rayearth too, and Rayearth is the other one that JD thought I would pick. Similar concept, except there's giant robots, and it's a little more kid friendly, and also because it's more it's also magical girly. That's the way I'm looking at it. Rayearth is more magical girly as opposed to like more serious, like Fushigi Yugi is. But the one you picked is funny because like I went to this Isekai panel this past weekend, which how this whole idea came to mind. And I had never actually seen KonoSuba before. Which don't ask me how I avoided that. I just somehow
I
did.
know why you avoided it, Manuel. Kaylee's in
Why?
it.
Oh really? Oh god.
But she
I'm
voices
never
one of
gonna
the best
watch the dub.
girls.
Which
What
one?
is
Yun
what's the
Yun?
problem with the dub?
Manuel
Wait,
just
which
hates
the...
Kaylee and everything for whatever reason, even though they're
I don't
friends.
hate Kaylee. Kaylee Mills is a homie of ours, and she's a voice actor. She's amazing. But the the issue is that there are times when like, do you have any friends who are voice actors, Josh? I'm pretty sure a lot of us do in like the con scene.
Yeah, I got a couple.
Yeah,
I mean,
don't
one
you
of them
find
is
it?
also.
Go ahead.
I was just gonna say if we're still talking KonoSuba,
Oh,
Christina's
she's a
also
KonoSuba too.
Yeah.
yeah.
She's best girl.
Yep.
No, so the issue, don't you find it weird sometimes when you're watching a show or playing a game, especially if you don't expect it, and suddenly you hear your friend in it?
Well, I guess it's because I kind of became a friend of hers just kind of over time. It's like when I listened to
Oh,
her, I was genuinely not like we were not friends or anything when she came under my radar because she was in like a lot of early projects and fighting games before she started getting like a lot of really big anime projects. So I don't know. It's in terms of, let's say there was somebody that I knew that didn't do voice acting and then all of a sudden they do voice acting, I can't say that that's the same. Like most of the friends I have in voice acting, I kind of became friends with them after they were already like working in
oh,
voice
okay.
acting.
See, I had the reverse. Like most of the I was friends with Kira Buckland. Like, well, to be fair, she was voice acting then, but it was on a much smaller scale back in the day. Like we're talking
Everything
like
is
10
much
years.
smaller until you become a JoJo's.
Yeah.
Exactly. We're talking like 10 years ago,
The
ish.
Kira also in KonoSuba.
Oh God, is they all? Anyways, and then like and when I met Kaylee, I don't think she was in anything officially. Like she had been in some fan project, but I don't think she had been like in anything. Um, I just looked up who Union,
Yes.
but yeah, I don't know who this girl is, but. So it's just weird, and then it just happens. And mind you, I know a few others, but it just happens to be that two of the people I know are Kira Buckland and Kaylee Mills, who are like in fucking everything. And like, there are times that I'm watching shit, and I will admit there are times where it just surprised me when I'm like, "Is that?" But there are some times when it's very clearly them, and I'm like, "Kaylee, get off my TV! Like, stop playing! Like, come on, get off my TV! Like, stop! We're not doing this anymore." But anyways, the funny thing about KonoSuba, getting back to the thing, is that I didn't realize how ecchi the series was. Like, there are so many like okay, the parts we watched that they were showing us during the panel, like every time there was a girl on screen, like there was fucking DOA type like breast physics everywhere. It was like, what the hell are we watching? I love it. No, no, I want to see it. What is? Sorry, my like earphones like went out. Anyways, do you like KonoSuba?
Yeah, it's good. I haven't seen season 2. That's mainly just due to like laziness, or I don't know, it depends. It's not like too lazy to not watch anime. I guess I just get busy with other things and then I get like a backlog. So I just never really got back to it. I ended up watching a little bit of Isekai Quartet before I continued watching some other things, and I was like, that's hilarious. Um they actually made Aqua not useless. She's like technically strong
Hey,
enough to fight off the characters in Overlord. So it's
hey,
like pretty
Aqua's not
hilarious.
useless. She just has very certain cases where she can help. And I'd say she's a much better party member than Megumin. Megumin causes more trouble than she ever stops.
Megami gets results done. That's the trade-off.
I mean, she only gets one shot a day, and that's about it.
There's a. It's funny because KonoSuba is now on the list of like easy. Honestly, it's not about the etchy part, but like I didn't actually like that one, Shield Hero, and the time I got reincarnated as a slime, both seem too normy for me. But after that panel I went to, I'm like, all these look so good. Like,
Why would you say that they're too normie? Slime is amazing. Shield Hero has sometimes a weird fan base. I think they read too much into the situation that like the first episode does, but other than that, it's a good show. I enjoy it.
Um, uh, don't get me wrong. It's just probably just the people I surround myself with. But I hear a lot of people talk shit about KonoSuba, and a lot of people, well, and almost as many talk shit about Shield Hero. Um, like there seems to be a lot of hate on KonoSuba, like as if it's like that show,
I'm
like
gonna like counteract you and say that I've never come across anybody who, when they watch KonoSuba, say that they hate KonoSuba.
see. I just avoided it because I assumed it was going to be trash that I wouldn't like. But it seemed funny that the clips that I was watching, the clips that I was shown, I should say I was watching, and I looked up some other shit like after the fact. I am for sure going to watch it in the Japanese though. I don't want to have any like Kaylee and Kira associations with that, but I don't know. In slime, I haven't heard anyone really talk about the time I got reincarnated as a slime. I don't want to name who, but like some of my friends are also working on that show, and part of my is Kaylee in that show, by the way, JD?
Not from the top of my head. I don't believe so.
Okay, weirdly enough, it's other friends. So there's people I know who are working on that show. So part of me for sure has been avoiding that one for that reason. I'm like, oh, so and so does stuff for that. I don't know if I want to watch it because of that. I'm weird like that. I'm just a horrible friend, aren't I? That's what this all comes down to.
You don't support your friends, Manuel. And no, as far as I can tell, Kaylee Mills is not in that time I got reincarnated as a slime. It started in Texas, so it probably didn't have a lot of LA talent.
Oh, it's gonna be the Funimation peoples.
Yeah.
And anyway, but yeah, and then another show I saw there that I started watching some of it recently. Well, recently, as in like on the way home, like from Vegas. With the Devil is a part timer.
Oh yeah, that
yeah.
Isekai. That's actually a really good one.
Yeah.
At least season 1 is.
Oh yeah, it's funny you say that because that's exactly what the person of the panel was running the panel, and he was even going. And part is that an isekai? I would never thought that would be an isekai.
It's an isekai. It's characters from a fantasy world taken to the modern world.
It's the reverse isekai.
Reverse isekai.
But yeah, the Devil is a part timer.
It's a reverse
is great.
isekai to everyone but Christians.
Oh, he's saying the controversial shit. It's funny because like I remember like see all this shit got in my head, especially the Devil is a part timer, like being the reverse isekai sorta. And I remembered back when I was a kid and I would watch all these movies. I thought like, oh, cool fantasy movies, but they were reverse isekai. It's like have you ever seen what's the movie I have? Have you ever seen the Masters of the Universe movie? The He-Man movie with like Dolph Lundgren. Well, there is a Masters of the Universe movie, came out in the 80s, but basically, maybe there was no budget for it, but basically it's like He-Man and Skeletor and all these homies come to like 1980s, like, the US. And it's like, oh, that's stupid. And then like, I love Beastmaster. It's the movie with like, guy controls ferrets and like a tiger and shit like that.
I like that you started with ferrets, not the tiger, ferrets.
Well, the ferrets are the most important part. They steal shit and they kill the big bad guy in the first movie and so on. But in Beastmaster 2, he gets I think it's even called Beastmaster 2 through the portals of time. He gets transported to LA. And it's like, oh yeah, that's stupid. And I remember like a lot of movies did that. Like I remember Warlock did that. There's a lot of fantasy movies that did that. TBS, the Beastmaster Station. Is that what the TV show?
No.
I mean, Army of the Ferrets.
No, Manuel. It was because Beastmaster would get a lot of syndication on like cable. People would joke that TBS stood for the Beastmaster Station because it would be shown a lot on that, or that HBO was, hey, Beastmaster's on, because it would get a lot of play on that too.
Oh, I'm pretty sure that's where I saw Beastmaster 2 all the time. Like when I was young, like that was like always like the first two movies were always on fucking HBO. Like as a matter of fact, that's why I remember that's where I saw a lot of the movies that are technically bad that I grew up with and I fucking love. Hey, Beastmaster's on. Yeah, Beastmaster's an isekai. And so was the original Super Mario Brothers movie. That's also an isekai.
Yes, but it's also terrible.
Actually,
so
both of them are isekais, aren't they?
Yeah.
I didn't even think about like I forgot the new one because the new one's animated and it looks just as wacky when they're in New York. But I didn't realize it's the same plot basically. Anyway, anyway, any other isekai? Any other favorite isekais you want to discuss, Josh?
I mean, I don't feel like we've discussed too many. I think we've just been like listing a lot of them off and then just
Oh
getting a
yeah,
little sidetracked
we're
by
not.
like the technicalities of them. I don't think I've heard you talk more about your favorite isekai. I just pointed out like the one about mine, just enjoying the phone. I know that Gigi kind of like got in there, but I think it's more just a preference about what the plot could be related to, which is why I brought up China. So
Well, you see, I have a preference for fantasy anything like
Mhm.
sword and sorcery type fantasy content. Which is why I used to get annoyed with like I just mentioned earlier, like shit like Beastmaster 2. And there's a ton of
Mhm.
other movies like that. I can't think of them all right now off the top of my head. But that was a whole shtick in the 80s where it's like, oh, well, we could fucking go to like somewhere like New Zealand before Lord of the Rings, and we could film a cool fantasy movie, or we could place it in the US and just pretend that this fish out of water dude ended up here. Which one do you think you're gonna do? Lord of the Rings kind of changed that, but the fantasy field was very crappy for a while. So like I like shit like Fushigi Yugi and Rayearth and whatnot. Whenever I watch some of these things, I was like, oh shit, it's like real fantasy content. That's why I used to like Slayers a lot. That's not isekai, but I'm saying I used to like I liked anime a lot because like oh, there's actual fantasy content. But
Mhm.
um yeah, Fushigi Yugi's a lot more of a serious take on the genre. Like I don't know, I feel like when things get tropified, uh they tend to get silly. Does anyone still make serious isekai anymore? I
Yes.
feel like really,
Yeah.
like everything I ever see is always like, haha, how wacky is this? We have a long title. I am a level 3 fridge transported to a dungeon, and now I'm like fighting zombies. I'm actually describing a title. I'm making all this up top
Oh,
of my head.
I thought you were gonna
But
say Reincarnated as a vending machine. Now I wander the dungeon.
is that a real show?
Yes, it came out last season.
See, it's shit like that where it's all like, what is the show? But Shigeki has a much more grounded plot. Like I said, like two kingdoms are fighting, and like the two girls who were friends before are now fighting each other, and they have to like find their reconcile like the fact that they one feels like she was abandoned when they got there and so on. And you obviously you don't see this as often in isekais where the people die for obvious reasons, but there are parts where she goes back to like her old life and the other world and whatever, to go live her life for a minute before she comes back. And then Rayearth is a little more like wacky, but there's robots and there's transformation and there's magic, and people still die in that one somehow. And that one has a really dark ending. Each time I watched that one twice, and each time I watch it, I forget how dark the ending is. No spoilers, but it turns out that the big bad guy isn't actually bad. Go figure. And and the shit he's doing is like, a lot more complicated than you would think. Don't
Yeah,
watch Rayearth 2 though. Rayearth 2 is trash.
I guess it's very, very indirect plot references, just in case if like anybody wants to go and check it out. Is what it's sounding like. It sounds like you definitely want to dive more into it, but it feels like there's like spoilers. But I'll take it that you enjoy the more serious isekai. I'm not saying that they don't exist. Um, maybe there's so many animes that come out. Maybe there's still one that's more of a serious take, like isekai type of deal, without it, resorting to parody, like being reincarnated as like XYZ thing, and the plot just kind of coinciding with how ridiculous the plot is surrounding how overpowered somebody may be or might become. Uh, yeah. Excuse me. I definitely want to bring up slime because I felt that uh Rimuru is just like such an amazing character outside of just the fact that he was reincarnated as a slime and was kind of using his prior knowledge to just kind of like grind his way to becoming more powerful, learning what other new abilities he had, and then getting to know more of the people around him. And I definitely feel like that one isn't so much. I feel like it starts off really comedic, but then later it gets just very heartfelt. There's a lot of characters that he meets along the way. He later absorbs some that give him his later forms, and there's normally like a background story to everything that's like occurring, and it also had like a really good movie. Also, it was very fun.
Yeah, another one of my favorite ones is Escaflowne, and that kind of goes in. See, I kind of feel like I have a trend going because those all feel very similar to each other. The three I just mentioned, if you've seen them before.
Fantasy Max.
What is it?
I said Fantasy Max.
Fantasy, but yeah, it also has giant robots. It's also fantasy. Um, Also, the movie of Escaflowne was the first anime thing I believe I ever saw in theaters. I might be wrong, but I'm pretty sure it was the first thing I ever saw in theaters. Because when that movie came out, like in 2002, 4, I can't remember what year that was. They did a big push in theaters around me at least, and yeah, I saw that. And then I saw the TV show later. It's great. Girl gets transported back in time. She, pilot, she has like a little guard. It kind of mixes Rayearth and Fushigi Yugi together because it's very similar plots. She has like the love interest boy who like is the warrior, but she's also like the robot, and she's also kind of like there's no other evil girl, but it's great. I like it. It also is a bit more serious, especially the movie. The movie moves so fast. There's not even much of a love story there, but it's a great show. It's a great show. Better movie in my opinion. Um, but yeah, like I also was, huh?
Oh, what were you gonna say?
I'm also a fan of No Game No Life. Um, that's probably the newest, the most newest thing up besides the devil is a part timer, but I haven't
Oh my
finished watching
gosh.
that. But No Game No Life, I like. See, that's another show that when I watched it, I liked it, but a lot of people talk shit about it. In my opinion, that I've noticed. I don't know if I just have horrible friends, but like everyone talks shit about it, like around me. So I'm like, oh, I guess I won't tell anybody I like
Oh,
No Game No Life.
uh,
I mean, I
that
know.
depend. What's
Sorry, I was gonna say
what was
I
that,
know
JP?
I've said I like No Game No Life. I know Molly likes it. Uh, Erica, they said they liked it. I haven't heard anyone in our group say they don't like it.
Is No Game No Life is the one they never finished, right?
There are a bunch of
Or
those
got
that
only
are
a season.
adaptations, Manuel. But yeah, they made one season and a movie.
Yeah.
But yeah, I guess saying that anime they never finish is a very vague concept because that's most you know like skeleton waiting for season 2 of the show.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's I think it's still a pretty good one. I'm not sure why there's like people that run into. The only thing I was gonna bring up if like let's say like there are some people that don't keep up with a lot of anime because maybe they feel like it's a little overwhelming, or they'll feel that there are particular classics that kind of outshine other projects, so they don't really watch other ones. That's why I'm not really sure because I haven't run into anybody that didn't like. The only real complaint I get about people not enjoying No Game No Life is the incest, because I'm like, I don't like the incest
Oh,
jokes. They're
oh,
very like very much like turn offy. I don't get it. Um I thought the movie was really good. I heard from my sister that she really enjoys No Game No Life, but she says that the way that it's written isn't as interesting as it's animated. It's like very she says it's very slow and it feels a little like off, versus just watching when it's animated, it feels like it's really good. But yeah, no, I mean, No Game No Life is really cool. The whole concept of like playing games against one another and just taking those particular bets and just seeing how they solve, how Sora and
Shiro.
Shiro, yeah, how they solve a lot of the problems throughout the games there, and the fact that it's not necessarily that they're the most overpowered. I think they just know how to like strategize well enough to beat their targets, especially when that last one before they end up referencing the very like I'm not sure if it's like a mainframe or like a computer, but like what they later reference in the movie and seeing that show up at like the very end of the series is just kind of like, well, that's a cliffhanger. I'm very surprised because I thought it was of the similar reception, and it like whenever like the figures for it come out, I know there's always people that are excited, so I'm not sure what in particular it wasn't making back, so that way more of us could enjoy more of No Game No Live.
yeah. I don't know.
So yeah.
I liked it. It's funny because every so often, like I said this before in all the other anime topics we've talked about. There are times I don't think I watch that much anime, and then I'm like, oh, I've seen that show. I just feel like I don't keep. I watch anime in a lot more sporadic, random way. I'm not the kind of person who keeps up with new seasons. Who like, I can't tell you really when a show is from because I'm not like. I'm not I don't mean this in a bad way. But I'm not like JD over here who can name like, oh, that's from last year. That's this season's show. Or next season they're making a new this. I'm just like, I watched this one show. Apparently, it came out 20 years ago, and I only just heard about it. You know, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Okay. So since we got a better grasp of like what we enjoy and the things that we have seen, for Devil is a part timer. Just getting to that, and I just want to like check in some stuff also from like the comment section. Actually, before Devil's a part timer, I saw that Katsu talked about Zatch Bell being like a reverse Isekai since it has all of the all those kids from the other dimension come over to fight to see who becomes king.
Hey, so is Digimon an Isekai?
Yes, Manuel already asked that and answered that question in the chat earlier.
Oh, okay. Well, let's keep going about Zatch Bell.
So, like, which of those two do you prefer as the better of the partner Isekai situation?
Wait, Zatch Bell or Digimon?
Yeah, like, and I'm not saying about what has like, a better what's had like better notoriety because that's Digimon hands down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, what'd you think in terms of like, like Zatch Bell? I guess like we're going that way. If we had to like compare it between all the other like things that reference either a pocket monster or a partner related thing, what'd you think of that?
I'm about to like upset everyone here. I don't think I've ever said this before, but then again, it's never come up. I don't really like Digimon anime.
Are you agreeing that Katsu brings up because he likes Zatch Bell more, but are you just gonna default it now and just say kind of like I did like
Yeah.
Digimon?
And don't get me wrong, I have seen Zatch Bell. It's not like I'm just giving it to Zatch Bell. I'd be lying if I said Zatch Bell stayed on my mind ever since I watched it. Like, well over, gosh, I don't even know how long ago that was. I saw it when it was on TV, so like 15 years ago.
Very compelling story. There were people died, man.
Yeah.
Like,
so I remember. I remember. Don't get me wrong. I remember liking it. I'd be lying if I said it stuck with me, but I for sure liked it more than I liked Digimon. Like, Digimon felt and I've talked about this before, like to people, like the people who are like, oh, they're releasing the new version of it where it's subbed as opposed and the wacky dub of Digimon, and I'm like, why do that with kids shows? But my point to bring, I'm sorry, I'm losing my train of thought here. Digimon, the US version, just felt so cut up, so like. So
how did you know? How would you have a concept of what cut up is? Like, okay, I'm just saying this. I was born like in the 90s, so like what I saw, I enjoyed for what I got. I had no clue that some of the names were just, Americanized, and obviously things were censored and other things were cut out. But
it's
like,
funny. It's funny you bring this up.
saying about
Actually, I have an interesting little thing about this. So flash backwards. So I think I was in 8th grade when the show was either out or it was running or whatever. I was in 8th grade, and I had this friend, and I remember one day we were hanging out after school. He's like, I need to go run to like CVS to go buy some tape. Oh, the 99-cent store, go buy some tapes, VHS tapes, because he would record every episode of Digimon. And I'm like, oh shit, that's weird. And anyway, so a few days later, I went to his house and I was joking about all of his tapes of Digimon. He's like, nah, man, look at all my Digimon tapes. He's like, you want to watch them? I'm like, nah, I'm cool. I don't like Digimon. Yeah, this goes way back. And then he was all like, nah, look at this one. And he had, mind you, I think he got it from like an older family member or something like that. I don't fucking know. He had like a somewhat, who knows how many removed generations, fan sub tape of the original Digimon. And I don't even think it was the first episode. It was like some random tape that like they probably bought at Anime Expo when it was at the LAX Hilton or some shit like that. And we watched it, and he was even saying like, no, the show's so much better in Japan. Like, and mind you, I was a young, uncultured weeb in general, so I was like, oh shit, they make cartoons for like adults, and I didn't know that kids are just treated differently in Japan. So it's still a kid show, still very much a kid show. But And Zatch Bell feels, and I have seen the original Zatch Bell. I think even though I saw it on TV, I definitely had it on DVD at
Yeah.
some point in my life. And Zatch Bell feels like it came out the other end a lot less destroyed. Also, Digimon in general, I only like the toys. Not, I don't mean the toys. I mean the actual Digi devices, the pets.
X Haru is like really letting you have it in the
Yeah,
comments
because
section.
everybody knows Manuel sucks.
How
Oh
the
man.
Japanese version's way better.
Like, wait, hold on. Are we when you're? I mean, in most cases, what you're saying is correct, but are you relating to Zatch Bell or are you talking about Digimon?
No, I'm saying Digimon. I'm saying like, okay, first of all, don't. I should back up and say this. I still think even the Japanese Digimon is probably not as good as Zatch Bell if we're comparing the two. But to make matters worse, um, the American Zatch Bell felt like it didn't have to like go through the grinder and come out with like a whole new face as the American Digimon did.
It,
It's
it
card
was it
captors.
was
It's basically card captors. They card captured it. But for some reason, we complain about card captors and card captor Sakura. But on the other hand, we're like, fucking Digimon was the best adaptation. No, 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 man. They fucked them both up.
I
That's my
mean, they
controversial
did,
hot
but
take.
like, it's like okay, it's. I think Zatch Bell got less of the grind treatment primarily because they weren't trying to market a shojo as a what's it called shonen, but for American boys. So um overall, like, I mean, it was still pretty good. The comedy in it was pretty. I felt there was a good balance both between the comedy and also like whenever there'd be a story that would get like a little into serious territory. It's kind of funny, especially because it has that whole Tokyo pop aesthetic going for it. Um, but yeah, no. And just to answer earlier, I'm pretty sure it's JD in the comment section. Like there are different people that have different motivations, and one person in particular said that they wanted to find one of the other. Oh shoot! It's been so long. I don't know how to exactly call the people who have the spell books on hand,
Oh,
and
yeah, I understand about the.
Yeah,
yeah, but one of them says, "Yeah, I need to get revenge on someone." And it's like, who in particular are they talking about? And I remember this was like the girl who had like I think she was blonde, had like a whole like Lolita style dress, and she had like a very like edgy shadow looking partner. And the only thing I was getting, or at least what they alluded to, was that someone had murdered her family, burned them alive, and was like had the whole like death glare and stuff like that. And then Zatch had to deal with the earlier issue of the Zatch looking clone that was like very ruthless and got rid of one of their friends is out of the what's it called, the competition also.
But yeah, I don't know. What are your thoughts on Digimon? Did you think you answered the question? I answered it. What do you
Okay,
think?
so Digimon. Sorry, I got a little too Zatch Bell right
No, no,
there.
no. It's
Just
fine. Are you also going to
uh
choose Zatch Bell over Digimon?
no, it's just a little hard for me. I enjoy both of them for different reasons. I really feel like there's one of them is campier than the other. And up until the point where I dropped Digimon was after season 3, and season 3 was just very like very notably directed by the guy who made or who would later go on to do
Oh,
what's it
the Euro
called?
no.
No, what was it called? Madoka. It was very
Yeah, the
much
Euro
just kind of
Butcher.
like uh um
So Tamers,
but yeah, no, I enjoyed it. It was probably outside of Dragon Ball Z the like first show with the serialized story that I really felt compelled watching, and in a different way than I enjoyed Pokemon, since everything in Pokemon just never got too serious or felt too real as the storylines were in Digimon. But if we're talking about Digimon being kind of censored, the only time something kind of felt off for me was when Davis was about to get murdered by a giant shell turtle thing, and he asked the giant turtle, "Please, for the love of God, wash your hands before you murder us." And it leads to a very weird like conversation between he and Vmon as they're like trying to not get killed. and then they beat up the shell, and then the turtle, and he decides to wash his hands at the end. And I just kind of felt like that was off, but I never really thought too hard about it until I saw that same episode in Spanish, and it turns out that Mexico doesn't censor their shit, or at least whatever studio does their thing. Because the only episodes I noticed were different off the get-go was like when Paimon gets killed, there's no like background music like they do in the American version, where he just gets like charred by Matt or Yamato or whatever.
Yamato.
But in the Japanese version, there is no music there. It's literally just like Dread and just leaving not Piedmon. I said Piedmon incorrectly. Puppetmon. They kill Puppetmon and they like fry him, and he has like no consolation after he's just flat out murdered, justifiably. But like it's just very dreary. And as for that other scene that I was explaining before, that giant turtle in like a couple scenes prior to the Davis scene literally takes like a fountain piss, like just literally gushes pee onto the beach. And I kid you not, I'm like, just did that thing just urinate? Like gallons of urination. And then now it makes sense because, you know, and they even say the actual line in Spanish. They're pretty much just saying like, before we get into this fight, or before we killed, I don't want to be, you know, mangled by the arms of someone who just went to the restroom.
Oh, okay.
And then after they beat him up, he pees again. And then he washes his hands, and then he leaves. Because they literally beat it out of him. And then afterwards, he decides, he's like, yeah, I'm gonna be cleansy. I'm gonna be totally cleansy. Don't beat me up, please. I'm a reformed person, and I'm just kind of like, wow, that's an episode.
It's hilarious. So... if you're gonna kill me, at least wash your hands. Yeah, I've never. Okay, I might have seen this episode, but I don't remember this episode. Do you know this episode, JD?
No, I don't remember that one off the top of my head.
The piss episode. I need to watch it just for all these pee jokes. It's funny you mentioned that, by the way. This is mild. This is actually very off topic, except that it's anime. But I mentioned this before. The very first time I watched Dragon Ball. I don't know if I ever said this on the podcast. I know I've said it to many people. They're like, "Oh, you're talking about the pee thing again." The very first time I watched the original Dragon Ball, not Z, but Dragon Ball, I think in the first episode when Bulma finds Goku and they go on the journey together, somehow they fight something. She ends up on a cliff, and like Goku's like, "Are you okay?" And he like leans over the cliff after he kills the monster or whatever that they were running from. And she's like, and she's on the cliff, and she's sitting there like with her legs like, you know, like kind of crossed, but she's like hanging by the back of her shirt or some shit like that, and she's pissing.
Yeah. Because she had to do a pit stop, and then they got involved with the whole little monster.
Yeah, and she's peeing on the cliff. She's peeing while she's like hanging out the cliff, and it blew my mind. I was like, oh shit, they're showing a girl piss on this cartoon. I was very young.
I agree with you. It seems a little like off, but like, and it just looks like the type of thing that easily could have been edited out, but when watching an unedited version, you literally just see like little like, was it sparkles or so?
Yeah, it was sparkles coming out of her.
That, like that's that's going on.
Yeah, mind you, it wasn't like a stream. They did show it as sparkles, but she was clearly pissing, and they did not edit this out. You know, I don't remember for sure, but I'm pretty sure I was watching this on Spanish TV too. By the way, when I was a kid,
there's a lot of different shows that like are very notable in Mexico. Like, what's that one about the armored people?
The Caballeros del Zodiaco.
There we go. Yes, that one.
Back to the Zodiac Saint
Seiya. I screwed up the Spanish, but yeah, the Caballeros something Zodiac.
Yeah,
Zodiaco. I don't know, but yeah.
Yeah, so they kept every it's understandable with what we were getting here in the West that was never gonna get animated correctly over here. So it's one of those things where you look back and you're just kind of like, interesting. And I feel like I'm not sure we should talk about that one since it's not Isekai, at least not to my knowledge.
No one gets Isekai in Dragon Ball, unfortunately, unless you consider Goku living. Dude, imagine if Bulma never went to his house. Like, the world would have got destroyed. Like he would have just quietly lived out his life, like tending after the grandpa's Dragon Ball.
That's if we would have like, if Dragon Ball Z would have been a thing. You never know. You never know how these things could have gone. But yeah. Okay, so I want to get back
Oh,
to
yeah, let's get back
Devil
to it.
is a part-timer. What was your favorite scene out of that? Like, just thinking back to it, like, and season 2 is not something I'm particularly enjoying, but
I've
it's
only
suffered from the longest.
I've only managed to watch the first episode so far. So if you have a
Oh
favorite
my
moment or a
gosh.
favorite episode, then you can go ahead and tell me yours, and I will
Oh,
get to
okay.
it.
I honestly thought maybe you had seen it. Okay, well, season
Well, like
2.
I mentioned, just to cut real fast, like I mentioned, I saw it at the panel for the first time. I'd heard the name before, and I'm pretty sure I've heard
Yeah.
people talk about it favorably, not badly. But I never had an interest to see it until I saw clips of it at the panel literally on Sunday, like 2 days ago. And then, like, on the way home, I watched one of them on the bus before I planned to watch more, but then bus shenanigans happened, which I'll get to another day. But but I watched one episode.
Okay, that's understandable.
I can.
First episode's pretty Oh,
Oh, I was going to add in like a favorite moment from,
Oh, go ahead.
not the entire series, but at least from one of the more recent seasons.
yeah.
Long explanation would be before this, but in like the most recent season, basically, Asiel is figuring out when Mao is going to come for them, and he's like, okay, he's like going over his part-time schedule. It's like, okay, this is like the earliest you can get time off, so he's going to be here in like 2 days from now. He's just like meta-ing it and just going, yeah, okay, he's going to be here. Just give him time.
Asiel is the best housewife, hands down. Absolutely, there is no one who is better. And it's funny that you bring up Asiel. He also has one of my favorite moments from the first season. There's a moment where what's it called? Emmy or Emilia, the
Yeah.
hero. She has her best friend that she works in the what's it called? That
Call
Jolo?
center?
What's it called? The call center. Thank you very much. And one day she's like, "What's your fixation with this guy who works at that McDonald's? And who the hell is this other blonde guy who seems to hang out around with them?" And Asiel is very like out there. He's very much like never really dropping the facade around him, which is why having that housewife role is like so good for him. But when they decide that they're gonna have a discussion about the past and how they know Emilia, it's so funny to me because I feel like it's almost out of character, but it shows just how much Asiel thinks things ahead. So he gives them the explanation that, like, instead of telling them that they were fighting each other in some other fantasy world and that guy's Satan, he literally just goes, "Well, you see, we used to work in construction company, and Emmy just happened to be our competition. So eventually, at one point, we ran out of money because she essentially ran us into the dirt. And then Sadao, Satan, he decided that he was going to rebuild himself from the ground up by working in the service industry in hopes of being able to climb back to our original status. And it wasn't until just recently that Emmy had noticed that Sadao was working at the McDonald's. And I'm just laughing my butt off because that's like such a good like alternate Cliff Note version of telling someone the story. And I didn't expect him to articulate it so well. I was like, oh boy, what are we gonna get? What's she gonna say?
I do also appreciate when the Kentucky Fried Chicken opens up, like just down the street from them.
Oh my god. I love it. I feel like this is a topic for the day, but I'm a huge fan of like fake restaurants in anime. Like you don't. I feel like you don't see it enough.
What are
like
you talking
in
about?
U.S. media.
It's not fake anymore. It's not fake anymore.
Did they make a
It's no
McDonald's?
No, it's no longer that's McDonald's. McDonald's officially like allowed endorsement of Devil as a part-timer.
Are you
like, earlier
serious?
this year.
Yeah, they had
I
like an
didn't know
ad
that.
campaign with it.
Oh my
Some of the
god.
kiosks, I don't know where, but some of the kiosks And I don't know if it was limited to just like Japan or say an Asian market, or if there were just like, okay, we have it in some places in Western countries, but maybe at like more like densely populated ones. But the kiosk literally had Sadao on it. He would say, "Hi, how can I help you with your order?"
That's wild. The devil is taking your order at McDonald's, not McRonald's, but yeah, like I remember like Inuyasha was one of my favorites. Inuyasha, um, they're always eating at Whackdonald's, and they're eating at or Donnie's. It was Donnie's and Whackdonald's.
Yeah, I think they did the same with the Denny's ripoff with Toradora. I think they did Donnie's also, I
Donnie's.
think.
Yeah, I've seen Donnie's a few times. I'm trying to what else I've seen, and it's funny actually. There's other shows I've seen Donnie's, but I don't know if you know this, but there's a similar restaurant to Denny's, like a family restaurant called Johnny's,
Yeah.
in Japan, and like there's sometimes when like they're parodying the Johnny's because the logo's done differently, but yeah, God, I love fake restaurants, and there's a ton for McDonald's. Like usually they just make it into a W. Um, I haven't any others. Like I just think of Whackdonald's. But anyways, whatever. McDonald's. I want to order. Why can't we get good shit like that?
Licensing.
I remember like there was a One Piece Film Red promotion at Carl's Jr., but it wasn't available in LA because at the same time when that promotion was going on, we had to promote the LA Rams for like some tournament or some shit like that. I don't know what the fuck. I don't know football. I don't know. Was it a Super Bowl? I don't know. I don't know football. I don't know how football. I don't know how.
It
I don't
would
know how
have been
sports
the
work.
very beginning of the season, I think, because I do remember that being more of a like maybe August or September.
September,
thing.
yeah,
I
that
think it
that
would have
time.
been red beginning.
I remember I went to my Carl's Jr., my local one, and I asked them just out of curiosity if they knew, and thank God there was a weeb there, and the weeb was all like, "Oh yeah, I wanted those cups too, but like we have to promote the Rams here in the LA area." And that was part of the fucking ad campaign. It's like, oh, every available Carl Jr.'s, but not in LA. And I was confused because it said not in LA in the ad, and I was like, oh, do they mean LA, the city, or do they mean Louisiana?
No, if it
So,
were Louisiana, I think it'd be a Hardee's.
but no, that's a good point. I didn't even think about that. Anyways, Devil's Part Timer. I gotta finish watching that. I plan to.
Yeah.
That's on my list to keep watching. Um,
Oh,
I don't
in
know.
Inuyasha, since we're talking about that isekai also, so was it? Did you like Kagome or Kikyo?
Oh, Kagome for sure. I fucking like. She was one of my original anime waifus. I was like the right age when that show came out. Like when I was watching it, like I
Why
was
did
like
you not pick Kikyo?
besides the fact that she's dead. No, I'm just kidding. Kagome's like.
I didn't mean to interrupt you. I'm sorry. I
Is
just want to
she
get to
like?
that before we got story time.
Is Kagome like? Would you consider like mildly tsundere or like? Is she? Would you consider that? I don't know. She kind of has that kind of attitude where she's. By the way, not to get too. This is kind of part of it, but like it bothered me that they make it sit boy in the
Yes.
in the US because in the manga it was just sit, and I can only assume that was done as sit boy because of the mouth flaps. But it always bothered me that it was sit boy, sit, and I used to always just say sit because I read the manga because I'm a fucking weeb. But I just love Kagome. She's great. I remember specifically when I used to buy everything in Inuyasha, and I bought one of the art books, and I was flipping through it, and it was a thing from Rumiko Takahashi. She's the one who created
Yes.
it, right? Yes.
Yes, Manuel.
There was a note. There was a note from her in the art book. Like it was like this little thing from art about like how to draw Kagome on model. And one of the things I'll never forget it says is her short skirt. And it says, no matter how heated the battle gets, this skirt always stays down. And I'm like, so that's why we never got any panty shots. It was mandated from the top.
It was mandated from the top, but I want to say that was more of an issue with and I know that you brought up like the manga, but Rumiko Takahashi lets a lot of stuff slip when she's like behind the what's it called, the pen and paper. Like the anime was never gonna break that rule, and for the most part, you never really get a panty.
Did you stop
that
the
out
show?
accidentally. we're back.
He stopped the
back?
show.
We're back?
Yeah,
Okay.
go back,
We
like
exactly
go back
got,
to
like-
from the top, and keep going down.
Okay. Okay, so when Ramiku Takahashi is at the helm, she lets things slip. Mind you, both in the manga and in the anime, you never really get an upskirt or a panty shot really from her. But if you read the manga, you
You
definitely
get a ton of them
no, you get a ton of
of
boobies.
nudity. Oh,
Yes, yes,
that
you do.
the very first girl, Yura of the hair. See, don't you love how I forgot how I can't remember a single name from
Oh, she's,
anything I've
like,
talked about today.
Totally not wearing anything.
See,
okay?
exactly.
Like-
Yeah, Yura of the hair, whatever the fuck. She is like titties out. The whole fuck is just.
Yeah, that's
And I
why
was
you
like,
remember it, Manuel.
Of course. I want to remember the
and
titties.
butt. She
Yep.
had that ninja like attire, so
Yeah.
like
Everyone else, you get to see everyone else's ass and titties, but just not Kagome's, unfortunately.
yeah, not Kagome's.
You-
Though, to
yeah,
be
yeah.
fair, they're going by the Greek drawing rules in like way back in the day. I feel they're like, oh, we're totally gonna draw naked women, but it's allowed because they're goddesses and stuff, and that's our technicality. But I feel like the other part of it is it's a lot of demon stuff. So now I'm just kind of like, yeah, that's why that is allowed because demons.
I Google Kagome hentai and
Manuel.
I am not displeased. I know we are live, but just hopefully you can't see the reflection of what I'm looking at in my eyes. Anyways,
What are you doing?
I looked up.
Manuel,
Kagome
you-
hentai.
Look that up
we have like
now.
15 more minutes.
I was just curious. I'm like, I wonder what it looks like under that skirt. We get arrested. Anyway. But yeah, I fucking love that show. It's one of the few of those type shows I'll watch. And by those, I mean the shows where like it's meant to go on forever. It's meant to
That's-
it
that's
didn't
kind of a
obviously, but yeah.
problem with it. But like, I mean, it was one of the more popular things that she had in syndication right now. Like, we didn't really have Ranma one half anymore in animation. Urase was not going to have its revival just yet, but like she even agreed. There's like I think it's season 4, the one with like the band of 7 or something like that. I remember that she, at some point, she actually said that she did that to kind of extend the length of the manga because it feels very, very shonen. Which, like, kind of, you feel the difference there because a lot of it was kind of like folklore, maybe a little bit of body horror, but mainly it's still the romance that's going on. And when that came up, it became like essentially a battle manga. And I think Rumiko Takahashi even said like she was really not dabbling in like the normal territory, which is why things feel a little bit normal after that whole thing is done.
Also, like another, even though we had the Kagome versus the fuck Kikyo, whatever we said,
Yeah.
the other girl.
I'm gonna say that I'm not the biggest fan of Kagome, but there was only a wrong answer, and that was Kikyo. Like,
Okay.
Kagome can sometimes be like a little annoying, but I don't think she really subscribes to a full dere, and I feel that her emotions are technically valid because she's like such an outsider to everything. But hands down, Kikyo is a bitch. The worst character. I watched it from like the end of the show, and then later went back to watch more of it. And I mean the end of the show, what was kind of animated already, that was on Adult Swim. The final act hadn't come out yet, the ending of the manga hadn't been done yet, and then later I went back to watch the other episodes. Kikyo is a monster of a person, like Spite 101. Even when she learns that she was fooled, and that Inuyasha was fooled, and she's still like, yeah, whatever, I'm still gonna do my thing.
Back in the day, mind you, I'd already seen a bunch of them, like either on
Yeah.
TV or wherever the fuck I was bootlegging them from. But back in the day, I used to go to the 99-cent store, and they would have all the Inuyasha DVDs. And I think I had bought must have been like 100 episodes. It was like 30 DVDs. I got rid of those a long time ago because it was just too much space. Because that was back in the day when you put 3 episodes on a DVD. But yeah, I used to fucking watch that show religiously. But like I was saying, beyond Kikyo and Kagome, my favorite girl, I can't remember her name. The fucking one with the
Sango.
boomerang. There you go.
Sango. There we go.
She was probably my more Kagome was like the first wife. I used to have tons of figures, tons of little keychains, and tons of all the anime merchandise back in the day. Unfortunately, I got rid of most of that recently, but to be fair, most of it was getting pretty ratty. But But yeah, Inuyasha was one of my favorite ones. Like that was my like One Piece or Bleach or whatever. It's funny because I never talk about it much, but that was like the show that I used to like watch all the fucking time, both old shit on DVD or whatever, or what was new. I gave up after a while, but I watched hundreds of episodes and I watched like the first four movies. Like I think I watched
Oh yeah.
2, 3, and 4 in theaters.
Oh my gosh, the movies. The first one I feel is good. I feel the first one is good in reference to what the series is. The second movie is trash.
No,
Second movie is absolute
most of the movies
garbage.
are trash. Wait, I have there
No,
was
no, no,
one. There was one I'll never forget where like I know this is like the plot of every episode in every movie, but there was one
Yeah.
where Kagome was like kidnapped, and she just kept screaming out Inuyasha.
That's the second movie.
And it
That
was
is
just
literally
like,
the second movie.
and I
The
just
second
remember
movie is
that was half the dialogue. That was half the dialogue in the
yes.
movie. Is her just screaming out Inuyasha at the top of her lungs.
Okay.
And I'll never forget. I was so done with it. I was like, I want to watch. Oh, and hold on, JD. And every fucking Inuyasha movie is the same thing. You have like 30 minutes of plot and an intro fight, 15 minutes of other plot and maybe another like getting set up for the fight, and then a fucking hour-long fight at the end. And like
Yeah.
every fucking time I watch these movies, I'm like, I just wanted to get behind the editing desk and be like, I'm gonna trim 15 minutes out your movie, and I promise you it'll be much better. It'll be much more watchable when I'm done. And I'm also gonna take the second movie and just mute Kagome's lines.
Yeah. The second movie is bad because it has a good premise, like within the first 20 minutes, and then it just becomes everything wrong with the show, like for the rest of the movie.
Inuyasha.
Kagome!
Kagome. Did
Okay,
you ever see that one,
That's what
JD?
I was about to say I've never really seen Inuyasha, but I saw like the Adult Swim promos for it, like the joking promos that were just basically them yelling back and forth each other's names, and then it ends on him accidentally like yelling her name as he's busting into like the bathhouse, and she like stands up.
Oh my god. But we don't get to
Yeah,
see.
no. It's it's very much like a cray cray situation. But I will say you're wrong about the third movie though. Not necessarily that like any of them are art, but the third movie is literally just Devil May Cry 3.
It's funny because I have a lot more memories of the first two because like those ones I mean I think I had all of them on DVD. You also could get those in the 99-cent store, but I had them all. I had the four. If there's more than four movies, I have no idea. But
There's only 4. There's only
okay,
4.
well then I've seen them all, and I had them all on DVD, and but I think only the first two did I ever watch more than once because the other I know I saw 2, 3, or 4 in theaters, and I never saw 3 and 4 again.
Wow, you actually saw them in theaters. Holy shit.
Yeah. Back in the day, I used to go to. I was that kind of weeb where it was like, if there, and honestly, I was still like this until kind of, well, I guess it wasn't kind of recently, but I was still like this. The start of A to J, where like any weeb event, I would try to go to it. I didn't always make it, but I would try. So if there was a movie, I'd be like, yeah, fuck yeah, I'm gonna go see that. I mentioned before, I saw the Death Note live action, not the Netflix, the Japanese one in theaters. And like pretty much every random movie that would have, and I saw Battle Royale in theaters and so on. But anyways,
You know that the Digimon movie is coming out tomorrow.
Yes,
it is. And JD
I
already
reviewed it
saw
for A to J. I will post a link in the edit.
That's so cool.
Yeah, he reviewed for A to J, and I guess I could have technically saw the screener too, but I'll watch that movie some point down the line. It does seem interesting. It's a remake, isn't it? Of
No.
like, the oh, I thought it was a remake.
No, Manuel, did you not read my review?
I read it for editing purposes, but I purposely skimmed through it so I wouldn't give away the plot. I thought it was a remake this whole time.
It's a sequel to Kizuna Last Evolution, focusing on the Digimon Adventure 02 team.
Oh, I thought it was a remake. Oops.
It's because since we did try that first time, so it's really cool that we get to do this, especially when they're notably not really there for it.
Yeah.
So it's cool, but I did have another question before we sign off because I feel like this is the best question for any isekai related thing. What was better, Dot Hack or Sword Art Online?
Oh, Okay, I don't know how the fuck we never got to Sword Art Online because that's the biggest part of my notes. Because I wanted to, I think I think I got carried away with talking about other shows everyone hates that I actually kind of like. I like Sword Art Online. I've mentioned this before.
Hey,
Like I
Manuel,
used to
you
be
want me to
like,
ruin SAO for you?
what? I know
Kaylee's in
Kaylee's
it.
in that. I know Kaylee's in it. I've never watched the dub only because has it only been dubbed recently? I never had
No,
access to a dubbed version.
no, Manuel, it's been dubbed since like right after season 1. It
The
was that
Lulu
popular.
God, the Lulu God says SAO is better than Dot Hack. So they
No,
agree with you.
okay. I no, for the record, I fucking love Dot Hack. This is not a Digimon Zatch Bell situation. I am not gonna crap on Dot Hack, but I do have to say SAO is a lot better.
It's very compelling. I think Dot Hack is done more justice by the games than the anime.
Exactly.
But I think
No,
this is more just
exactly.
a situation. Yeah, I feel this is just a situation of like, most people will watch Dot Hack, and I'm gonna be honest. Me watching Dot Hack feels like you need supplemental like
Hmm.
material, and playing Dot Hack is very much, I think, what everybody like confuses whenever somebody wants to bring up that Dot Hack is better than SAO. But really, we're just talking about two different things. Like you can't really
Yeah.
compare the two. And if we were going to, it's going to be SAO because SAO does like the same thing Attack on Titan did. It gets you in on one episode. There's no 3-episode rule. If you're not signed up by like the premise of the first one, you're like,
Yeah.
it's not for you.
No, the whole the series is great. The fucking music is great. See, I don't like the games as much, and I have played some SAO games because I'm like, oh, they have an SAO game. It's gonna be like Dot Hack. No, they're not that great. But Dot Hack has some amazing games. The first quadrology, whatever you call it, the
Heterology.
I don't know what the fuck. Yeah, I'm not sure what that series, if it had an overarching name, but like those first 4 games to the PS2 were amazing. I fucking love them. I know they remade the GU games, which I like those too, but the first 4 they should remake those instead. But the anime, it's good. It's great. But like Josh said, like I always felt like I don't know, play the games instead.
Wait, I thought
It's
I
all
thought
good,
it was
though.
a multimedia franchise. It's essentially that like the anime takes place like in the same continuity as the games.
No, it does. Some characters weave themselves in and out. Like I was very confused because there's this character who like dies in those first 4 games, but he's in the anime, and then like it turned well in the Dohak sign. I'm talking about the first one, or one of the first anime. I'm not sure there was one before that, but it turns out that like oh he was just this is when he was alive, you know. Uh, and there's shit like that though, and I think he does disappear in the show, and it's like oh to find out what happens to him, play the fucking games. And there's some OVAs that were released with the games that I feel you can only watch if you know the games. I don't know. My point is they're a lot more tied in than SAO will ever be.
Yeah, did
S-
you two things with that, and I know that this is JD's gonna want to wrap up, but like what would you say was your favorite from the SOA that you've watched? I know that some people like have kept up with it and some people have, but like what's your favorite arc, and then who would you consider best waifu?
What of SAO?
Yeah, SAO. Or I guess best girl. Let's go with best girl.
I don't know if I have a best girl of SAO. I like what was the I don't know if it's the most recent. It's the one I watched most recently. What's that?
Yeah.
What's the show? Alice.
Yeah.
Oh
You
yeah,
mean-
the Allison, the
Yeah.
Underland
Alice?
thing?
Yeah.
Wait, sorry,
That's my
is
favorite
Alice
one.
your Alicization?
There you go. That's
Okay,
my favorite
for the arc.
like,
Okay.
arc. I don't think I have a best girl just because I like all the. Which one does Kaylee do? Sorry.
I'm not going to tell you that until you tell me best girl.
No, I don't. I don't want to say the one that Kaylee does.
Say it. Say something, Manuel. Give me a name
No.
or a description.
Oh, you give your best arc and best girl while I look at who Kaylee.
Okay, best arc for me is Gun Gale Online, Phantom Bullet, and either Shino or Suguha for best girl.
Okay. Okay. You just broke Delulu God. They didn't like the they say the sister, but it was the cousin, but they're very much like
He
anti
does do the
that.
voice for Alice. I hate everything. I
Who
wanted
does
to.
the voice for Alice?
Kaylee.
Kaylee.
That's why I didn't tell him.
Okay.
I wanted him to say Alice for best girl.
He knew that I was walking into a
Yeah,
trap.
Manuel, I got Kaylee to sign an Alice poster for my cousin the first time I met. I met Kaylee at Anime Boston because it was all my cousin wanted when I told him I knew someone who knew Kaylee.
Dude, I'm so upset because I would have. Okay, that's my favorite. That's my best girl right there. But I had to look it up because I didn't want to. Anyway, keep going, Josh. Did you say yours?
It's to see known is best. That we got to see known is best. I do believe that when referring back to Gun Gale, that's that very good character.
Oh yes.
For me, it should be obvious that it's Alicization. I haven't finished it yet, but I was already like, yeah, no, I'm gonna be biased towards this. It don't matter. I don't care what the quality is. That will automatically be the best. But second will be the Yuki arc. I really thought that was really cool, and I'm glad we gave more screen time to Asuna.
A Mother's Rosario.
A little bit more.
Mother's Rosario, I think is the technical name of the arc. But
thank you. Yeah, I really like that
one
arc.
Without Kirito.
I enjoyed. He's in there still. He's in there for a bit. But what's it called? Yeah, no, actually, that's really cool that Katsu brings this up. It's not visible on the stream, but from the from the Discord behind me, I have a poster for the the alternative Gun Gale online like little anime that has nothing to do with the characters that we normally follow, and I find that to be a very, at least for the first 6 episodes, I feel like it's good enough to be like maybe its own movie. The only part of the anime that I don't like concerning that alternative Gun Gale thing is that a best friend is introduced, and the best friend decides to be like, hey, remember all the problematic shit in the normal Sword Art Online? Let's wrap that all into this one extra character. Right away, she's like, I found a bunch of guys who liked, I don't think she uses the word simp, but essentially she's like, yeah, I found a bunch of people to just like buy me all my upgrades and like, you know, just be very much exploitive. I was like, of course. And then it doesn't not get any better. Not worse. What am I saying? I like it. I like the I do like that alternative Gun Gale one. It's really a lot of fun, and I like Mother's Rosario. If I'm not bringing bias into the mix, is what I'm trying to say. And best girl. Oh wait, what are you gonna say?
Oh no, go ahead. I was gonna ask who your best girl was. I didn't know you were getting into it. Go ahead.
Yeah, best girl. I actually liked Liz when they like focus. When they focused time on her, I really did like Liz, and then later she just fell to the background, and we never really did anything else with her, and all she became was like a troll. Like, all she did was just troll around with, like, everybody. I don't know, I think Xenon. Like, it's between there. Like, I really liked Liz at first, but then I just kind of feel like...
I feel like there's a lot of Xenon fans.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's funny because you mentioned Lifa, but I feel like Lifa's a bit too basic. I've never met a Leaf.
Here's the thing. I'm gonna be like, I'm really biased towards a particular type of lady, and what's it called? When it comes to that Lifa, the only problem is I don't like that she had to go the whole like it's incest, but it's not incest route. And
yeah.
Kind of like, why do we even do this? Like, and I'm not saying that her feelings and what goes on in it don't lead to anything, because she's actually trying to be kind of like, yeah, I should probably not be like into my cousin. So I'm gonna go into this other world, be me, look at me, I'm awesome. Oh look, there's this really stoic, cool person who has a lot of traits that are very similar to like having someone actually be there, and that's really cool. Oh crap, it's my cousin. Oh look, my cousin decided to actually be like not a neglectful dick because he was so like awkwarded out about like the family stuff.
Sword Alabama Online.
It's so weird and so like, oh my gosh.
Roll
because
Tide.
then by the end of it, they never do anything like that again. But you're still just kind of like, why did that have to be a thing? You get me? It's like it's like there's a good thing there if you literally made it be like if you made a totally alternate thing, and like let's say she broke up with some guy, okay? And then they're playing together on this thing, and then lo and behold, oh crap, it's my ex. Ah crap, I have the weirdest things. Like, it feels like that's a good story. It just gets completely overshadowed by the fact that it's like, yeah, we have a waifu quota to meet. Yeah, we're gonna do this because we're Japan. We just can't get over it. And it's not what you think, because
Oh, go ahead.
first cousins, I don't know. Fuck me, man.
Apparently, the secrets of the show would have been talking about game isekais a lot earlier. I didn't even think about. Well, we talked about No Game No Life, and I meant to segue that into Sword Art Online, and somehow I lost that plot. But anyways, JD.
Oh my gosh, Delulu God.
No, wait, no, Vince. No, I feel like I feel like I missed your whatchamacallit, your waifu real fast. Wait, incest is win. No, no, incest is not win.
Okay, I said here's how it goes.
No, not your waifu. I got your waifu. I meant JD.
I said
your waifu.
I said Sinon, Shino, or Lifa Suguha, and I was defending the second one because I was like, I just like girls with swords.
Oh, okay. Okay, so
I like girls with a particular set of assets that
that who
completely outclasses everyone in. So, yeah, I just do not like what character she is right there, and I hate that. Just kind of like, well, Kirito's like that semi-surrogate, semi-own character, and that's where it rubs me in the wrong way, because I'm just kind of like,
Okay, but now we really should start wrapping up.
Yeah, we'll wrap it up. Just Lifa makes, just my little closer. Lifa makes cute figures, but I don't care about her character. Anyways, what if your cousin has a sword? No. Anyway, Lifa. We talked about Lifa, by the way. That was the character at the end about the assets and everything, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Giant titties. We were talking about giant titties. Anyways, just gotta make that obvious because we don't. So it's not lost. It's not too subtle. Anyways, we wrap this up. Tomorrow I should be playing games this morning. I don't know. We'll see what happens. Maybe Final Fantasy VII. We want to finish that as much as we can before Super Mario RPG comes out, which I think we're not gonna make in time, but because he wants to play that, but the remake, and that's that. And then Friday is more Drink Talk Roll, and third episode. Hopefully everyone's on. It looks like everyone is. Maybe not Andrew. Maybe we'll get a Centaur. And then next Tuesday is more UPZ. I have some ideas, but I'm talking to JD about that, and I'm gonna start planning it sooner. So yeah.
Wow. So sooner rather than Sunday?
Well, that was a special case because of fucking Sin City Anime.
Thank you. Sorry. I was gonna keep going with the wrap up and say thanks to our patron Ed.
Oh, that's it. Thanks to Patreon Ed. Patreon.com/CityConnections. Give us money. Give us money because the site payment's coming up, and like I've been living very frugally because I'm like I need to pay the $500 site bill. So give us money. Anyway,
Josh, would you like to promote anything?
Yes. Totally check me out at Photaku Network on YouTube. I will eventually get back to streaming. I'm not sure when here on Twitch. But also do be sure to check out Peak Filler Podcast. Where I, my co-host Andrew XP, sometimes anime, sometimes normal XP, talk about anime. And I think our latest episode will be about Demon Slayer, so keep an eye out for that on the YouTube.
Already emo discussion next. I don't know. We'll do Ori emo. Nice.
Oh no! Yeah. No, we're not talking about Ori emo. Oh my goodness!
Night, everybody.
Oh God, are you a little too delulu?